Drake is a sad man that can't move on by my boy Young Don Reacts. Today's going to be a fun video. If you guys don't know, Drake just recently dropped a highly anticipated album called Iceman, which turned out to be a three-piece drop, 3 different albums concluding of 43 songs. That's a lot of music. Dropped on May 15th. The time of me recording this video, it's May 18th. And I gotta be honest, I gave my initial thoughts on the Drake album, or at least the Drake live stream, which didn't even feature all the songs. I did that live on stream. Link to my stream is in the description. That's Whereyouatberto. If you ever care to see what I do live, I would love to see you guys there. Join the link in the description. But overall, I gave my first initial thoughts was a 7 out of 10. With 10 being absolutely amazing, 9 being like pretty damn good, 8 would be like, okay, this is good music. 7 is kind of like, I enjoyed that. When you start talking about 6, I feel like 6 is underwhelming. 5 is probably where it's like, this is mid. And then anything under that, I would argue, is just trash. If you're rating an album 4 and below, you know, that's in trash territory, right? My first initial thoughts was a 7 out of 10. The live stream that I watched at the time didn't even feature all of the records on the album. He dropped 3 different albums. That's 43 songs. That's a lot of music to consume in just a couple of days, right? I looked at my hand like there's a watch on there. So I think today's going to be a very fun video because my brother Don has given his thoughts on the project and I've watched a little bit of it and they're negative. And Drake is one of those artists where I feel like he's gotten to the point where you either love him or you hate him, and there's not a lot of in between. Me personally, Drake is my favorite artist, so you might already feel like I'm going into this bias, but I will say, as an artist myself, as somebody that has put out music and have been in the music industry for years, still my opinion, but I think I have a pretty unbiased opinion when it comes to music across the board. So let's get into this video today and have this little parasocial debate. I think it's gonna be fun. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. Where you at, family? Come on.
There were so many terrible lines on this album. This line right here from National Treasures. Oh my God, bro. I heard this shit. This was disgusting. He said, check signing is my kink, pushing out ink. I feel like a squid. Oh, I heard that. I was like, Drake is so washed, bro. Drake is done. He must have fired all the ghostwriters. That's insane. So I've listened to Iceman 3 times. Iceman, of course, this is Drake's latest album that he's put out, highly anticipated. For me, 2 out of 10. There were 18 songs on this album. Out of the 18, I only liked 3. Well, do some basic algebra.
Okay, so I will say Don is only rating the one singular Iceman album. So let's just focus on that. We won't even consider the other 20 plus songs that he dropped on the other projects. He's only focusing on the main album.
Here, 3 out of 18 equals score out of 10. Multiply both sides by 10, you get 30 over 18. That boils down to 1.6. Round that up, you get 2. But it wasn't just sad because there were only 3 songs out of 18 that I liked, but the contents of the album were depressing. It was pitiful because Drake spent a good portion of this album still so clearly hurt and in his feelings and just down on himself about losing the rap beef to Kendrick. You know, it wasn't honest about it. You see, it'd be one thing if he wanted to talk about this beef. Granted, this album should have come out a year and a half ago, honestly, but at least a year ago, right? When it would have made much more sense to still be talking about it. But even if you wanted to talk about it, at least be honest. You know, let people in, right? Really walk us through how this shit affected you emotionally. Instead, Drake spends about 18 songs trying to convince us that either A, he didn't really lose the beef, or B, he doesn't care, it doesn't affect him, right? This is the whole point of him calling himself Ice. Out of nowhere, this guy, we've all known him as Drake for so long, now he's Iceman. He is trying to convince us that he was unaffected. Yet, if he was unaffected, it wouldn't have taken him 2 years to drop an album. If he was unaffected, he wouldn't still be sending shots at Kendrick. If he was unaffected, he wouldn't be talking so much about all the people that switched up on him. If he was unaffected, he wouldn't have named the one song he had featuring Future, Ran to Atlanta, which is supposed to be a callback to how Kendrick accused Drake of always running.
Now, so far, I'm not going to lie, I'm not necessarily mad at what Don is saying here, because when I was reacting to the stream live, when Drake was playing some of the album, I did say I don't like how Drake is still hanging on to this Kendrick beef a lot. You know, at the end of the day, I don't think there is a version of this project where Drake wasn't going to address Kendrick. I mean, bro, let's just call a spade a spade. Drake lost the beef, okay? And I'm saying that as a Drake fan. Drake lost the beef. There was that song, Not Like Us, while I don't agree with how Kendrick started pushing literally the most heinous narrative that a man can get attached to his name falsely, because at the end of the day, regardless of what you think about Drake, regardless of the things that you think you saw, there's no PDF cases against Drake right now. Drake is not, fighting anything. We see a real PDF file that is in jail right now, David, who has actually committed heinous, disgusting crimes and, is hopefully rightfully going to be served justice. So we see what that looks like when an artist is actually being actually done something and has been accused of that. And then, Drake kind of just got attached to his name because of an amazing song, Not Like Us, that is just chanting in the streets. We are forever going to be singing A minor. So I'm going to be honest. If that were you, me, or anyone, I'd be pretty fucking pissed too. Kendrick made a banger hit song that is literally the most sing-alongable jingle ever, and that's attached to my name and is also accusing me of the most disgusting thing ever. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be petty and be trying to plead my innocence for a long time to come. So I don't think there was any version of Iceman dropping where Drake wasn't going to be, still trying to nah, man, y'all tried to do me the dirtiest way, and I'm not going out like that. Let's be honest, bro. I really think anybody would still be addressing it, right? But I did feel the pettiness. I did feel where it's all right, Drake, this is the 4th song in, and we're still talking about this. But here's the thing, though, man. I'm not mad at Don's take here, but for me, and you may not agree with this, I feel like, are we judging the music or are we judging what he's saying? And there is a version of rating songs where it's all one and the same. But me, as somebody that enjoys music and always remembers to digest music in a way of this is supposed to be entertainment. This is supposed to make me feel good. This is supposed to make me feel sad. This is supposed to make me feel hyped up, depending on the vibe of the music. I'm not going to sit here and call a song trash because he's talking about Kendrick or not talking about Kendrick. The point is, did the song make me feel something? Again, hear me closely. I'm judging on how good is the record. That's how I'm judging this project. Again, if we're going to have debates about what he said and this and that, who won the beef, who won that, we can have that conversation. But when I'm rating a project based off of music, how good does it sound sonically, that's what I'm going off of. So let's continue.
Into Atlanta when he wanted to up his street cred or get some more credibility in the black community by making music with Atlanta rappers. Even when you take a look at the music video for Ran to Atlanta by Drake, and the fact that it only has 3 million views, not even, but almost 3 million views after 2 days, I would say this is probably his most commercially viable song on the album. It's featuring Future.
I don't know. I mean, that song's hard as fuck, first of all. But you know, the rollout was kind of weird. I mean, he live streamed everything, so a lot of people already saw that content. I mean, I was in that live stream. Now, there was almost like 500,000 people watching concurrently throughout the whole stream. So I'm sure that tanked some of the, you know, people that were excited to go watch this music video because they already seen it live. But I digress.
Future, the fact that it hasn't even cracked 3 million views, Drake is no longer who he used to be. That much is clear. But if you take a look at the visuals for this video, you would see interlaced throughout the video are these heat signature visuals, right? Like basically like infrared, I think it's called, where they can see how hot you are. And so, of course, warm-blooded animals and creatures, they will show up as bright yellow and red because they're warm. But whenever Drake is on the video, he's blue, trying to symbolize that he's ice cold. He is so concerned with trying to portray this image of being unaffected when he dedicated the whole song to just griping about this beef that happened 2 years ago. And so it comes across as fake. It comes across, which is honestly a metaphor for Drake's entire rap identity. Iceman is a metaphor for Drake's entire rap identity. A guy who is trying desperately to convince everybody that he's cool. I had to sit back and ask.
That's a heavy take, man. Now, again, I want to keep it on the music. What Don's talking about right now is what Drake is trying to convince us of. But let's stay in the lane of what Don's talking about for a while. Drake did some lame ass shit suing the record label. I thought that was super lame. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but again, he lost the beef with Kendrick. I believe that if Drake would have won the beef with Kendrick, even with what Kendrick has done, he wouldn't have sued. So it's like, Drake is affected by this. I think Drake is hung up about this. I don't think anybody wouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it does come off a little bit corny and weird when you see him trying to, like, constantly try to prove to us. But again, I already gave y'all my cope. We can call it that. Let's call it exactly what it is. I already gave y'all my cope. If it were me, shit, I'd be feeling the same way. But when it comes to, like, we're talking about the logistics of, is Drake still hot and what had Drake hasn't done? It's like, bro, let's keep it a stack, bro. Drake has been at the top of the game for 10 plus years, 15 plus years. I think he might be running on 16 plus years. Even the biggest Drake haters in the world, you hate Drake. I know there's more than one. Not even, I can confidently say that there's more than one Drake song where you're like, no, that's actually probably one of my favorite songs ever. Because that's how many hits this nigga has brought to the table for a long time. So it's just like one of them things where to say that he's not still at the top of this shit, which I don't think that's what Don's saying, but it's like when Drake is still kind of riding that high horse, it's like, bro, he is. Who has genuinely dropped? What new artists have come around in the last 5 years, not even 10, and have stuck? You know what I'm saying? There's literally nobody else at the top of the game except the guys that have been at the top of the game. Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, Future. These are these guys that have been running the game 5, 6, 7 years ago are still running the game today. And when you look at that list, you know what I'm saying? Name your top 5 guys, top 6, 7 guys that have been running the game for the past 10 plus years. And you look at that list, who's number one? Statistically. Do I even need to hit the Google search? We know who's popping up. So it's kind of like, again, this is going to sound like a glaze fest, but really try to listen to what I'm saying from a statistical standpoint. The numbers are in. The history is still made. Drake is still the number one artist out of the last batch of people that have been running the game across the board. So if we're going to talk about numbers and statistics, I mean, is he wrong to still be popping his shit and trying to be like, I mean, y'all are trying to run with this narrative, but look at what the numbers are saying. Hey man, cope, I'm coping.
Myself, how comes I didn't see Drake for the cornball that he has always been? There are plenty of people who've always seen it, and I think the deceptiveness was, one, we never really got to see Drake express himself in any real way. Like, we only got to experience Drake for the most part through his music. He rarely did interviews. We were not let into his private life. And so we only got to experience him through his music. And then he was constantly surrounded with the markers of you know, material things that usually are associated with cool people. Beautiful women, a lot of money and wealth and success and fame and fans. And it's like, oh, well, if he has all of these things, clearly he must be a cool person. He's also hanging out with other people who come across as cool. People like 21 Savage, Future, Lil Baby from like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, that Lil Baby. And so you used to see visuals like this and be like, oh, Drake must be a cool person because this is what his life looks like and only a cool person would get this kind of shit. But now I see, oh no, this was a person who was trying to convince you that he was cool. Well, now let's turn to this video that I came across yesterday talking about how
are we about to do, oh shit, double reaction right now?
Drake,
I didn't know that was what's happening,
is actually MAGA's Joker. He is not the Iceman. He is a Joker. And he's not the cool Joker either.
Specifically, Drake wants to be Heath Ledger's Joker, the cool Joker, the respected Joker, the Joker audiences mythologize because he seemed larger than life, intellectually dangerous, impossible to control. But there is one critical detail about Heath Ledger's Joker that Drake seems unable to escape. The Joker needs Batman to survive. Batman does not need the Joker. And then there is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, the actual incel, the socially alienated grievance addict who mistakes humiliation for depth and spectacle for purpose. A man spiraling publicly while convincing himself the spiral is revolutionary. That is the Joker that Drake symbolizes.
Right.
Because Iceman does not sound like a victorious supervillain. It sounds like a man emotionally trapped in the fallout of losing control of his narrative. 40 plus songs later, and Kendrick is still there, haunting the project through sneak disses, wounded pride, bitterness, paranoia, and endless attempts to
I want to make it clear again, I'm still not mad at what anybody's saying here. Like, when we're talking about the messaging and the things, like, yeah, bro, Drake is still hurt about that shit. Kendrick took the sword and huss. And Drake is still wounded and hurt about that shit. I agree with all these analogies. I agree with all these comparisons. The only thing I don't agree with is we still haven't talked about the music. You get what I'm trying to say? And this is where it's just two separate conversations for me. We're 8 minutes into the video, and we still haven't said, yo, this song just sounds like doo-doo. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm judging music off of. Again, we can have those conversations about who won and who's hurt and who's real and who's fake, but let's keep a spade a spade. Future's one of my favorite artists too, like, not like all time, but like, I like to listen to Future. Future makes dope music. We all like listening to Future. What does Future talk about? Drugs, gangs, and doing mollies and popping Percocets, right? All that's part of Future's image. I could pull up an interview right now of Future saying, oh yeah, I don't do drugs. I'm just saying there might have been a time where I dabbled in that life, but I just like to talk about stuff and keep the vibes going, but I don't live like that. Which is 90% of rappers, right? So again, when I'm judging music, I'm judging it based off if the music's good or not. Does the music make me feel good? Is the music hype? Is it slow? If we're gonna talk about real rappers, who's really living, okay, then we got King Von. King Von made some fire music, you know what I'm saying? And he was also a terrible, evil person that was doing evil, heinous things. You know what I'm saying? And he was probably one of the realest rappers that actually lived what he was talking about. Cool, we can have that conversation. Is Drake the realest nigga in the room? Probably not. But his music sucks because of that. Again, bro, I like to have, like, when we're having these conversations, I like to keep it on topic of what we're talking about.
He claimed dominance without ever directly confronting the source of the humiliation.
Think about that. Think about that. I don't know about you, but the entire time I'm listening to this project, the project that's supposed to be Drake's big comeback project, the project that he allegedly spent millions of dollars to hype up and promote, the entire time you're thinking about Kendrick Lamar, right? Maybe not constantly, but just throughout the project, he says things, Drake says things to remind you about the battle he lost, the friends he lost as a result of it, the people who switched sides, the people who went on other teams, right? Constantly. When you're listening, the next album that Kendrick Lamar drops, guess what? Who you won't be thinking of? Drake. And so Kendrick is the Batman to Drake's Joker.
Now Drake's aesthetic has been absorbed by the MAGA ecosystem.
Look at that.
The White House
Look
X
at
account
that.
posting doctored Iceman imagery resembling white power symbolism is not just a random meme. It represents a larger cultural absorption. Drake's persona, especially after this rollout, is increasingly compatible with internet spaces driven by grievance, irony poisoning, perpetual victimhood, and algorithmic outrage. The same online culture.
Plenty of people who love MAGA and love Trump will love this Drake album.
That thrives on owning the libs, and being anti-woke, and humiliation rituals, and endless engagement.
Drake's music is essentially the beat it chick meme come to life.
Farming also loves Joker archetypes, not disciplined revolutionaries. Jokers, men who confuse attention or fear with respect. Men who
like
build
Chud the Builder. That's exactly who Chud the Builder is.
Entire identities around feeling persecuted while demanding the world stare at them constantly. Men whose instability becomes content.
The strong man doesn't have to tell you that he is strong. It is just evident from the way that he moves. Drake is constantly trying to convince his fans that he's unaffected, that he's the Iceman. It's pretty sad.
Again, I'm locked in. You know what I'm saying? I like these conversations. I mean, again, I don't really disagree. You know, it's like I don't know if Drake is real or not. But I kind of don't care. And I think I'm not mad at this video at all. I think for me it's just kind of like, who cares? I think anybody that is just like overly invested in whether Drake and Kendrick are best friends or who's thinking about who is just kind of like, bro, I'm just trying to listen to good music while I'm doing my workouts, bro. You know what I mean? Like, at least that's how I'm looking at this. And for me, the album's hitting in those areas. Because guess what? When Kendrick drops his album and there's a bunch of bangers on there, guess what I'm going to do? Be listening to that shit. I'm going to be wop, wop, wop. Kung Fu Kenny. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm listening to all that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of them things where us as fans, I know not everybody lives like this, but like y'all have gotten to the point where y'all feel like y'all got to pick sides, but why? Drake's not paying you. Kendrick's not paying you. Enjoy the music. You know what I'm saying? And have these debates. That's what makes music fun. What's made music lame is almost like us picking sides and then, or no, you're supposed to pick sides. That's what keeps it competitive. But in the sense where it's like, oh, nah, Drake did this heinous thing when it's not true. There's no evidence of that. And then like, you don't listen to Drake music anymore. It's like, okay, now we're just capping to ourselves. Like, again, I'm not sitting here saying I don't like Kendrick's music. I love Kendrick's music. Kendrick is a GOAT. Euphoria. Dun. You done about do ba da ba boo ba da ba 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 da da ba boo ba da ba boo ba da ba da ba. Euphoria. Yeah, I like that song. I play that song all the time. That song is hard. And it's dissing Drake. And Drake's my favorite artist.
He is becoming Heath Ledger's Joker. Feared, iconic, culturally untouchable.
Right.
But the more repetitive...
The nice man is now the ice man. He is saying that Kendrick changed him. Kendrick is not changed from this beef. What does that tell you? This whole thing changed how Drake sees himself. It changed how the world sees Drake.
That's cool.
Bitter and emotionally stagnant the music is, the more he risks looking like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker instead. Isolated, resentful, obsessed with grievance, and surrounded by audiences who are not actually invested in him as an artist.
I just think also trying to make this political is crazy. Like, Drake's not even American. What, like, I don't know why the White House tied in what you call it, Iceman cover or whatever. But I will say, I think I saw a bunch of other companies do the same thing. Like, I don't think it's this deep thing where Drake is rooted into politics. Like, I think people try to spin a lot of things into politics, but I don't think that was the angle here. Again, conspiracy theorists, we can do that, and I'm sure we can connect a lot of dots into making it look like it's something, but it's really nothing, in my opinion.
So much as they are entertained by the spectacle of his unraveling. That is why Iceman feels so bleak to people who listen to it.
Right.
The album was supposed to reestablish Drake as the ultimate anti-hero.
Here's what's wrong with Iceman. I mean, there's so many things wrong with it, but a big problem, and you notice it from the very first track, Drake has not grown as a person. The contents of this album it's the same shit from Nothing Was the Same. I got money.
No, it was not. No, it was not. Nothing Was the Same was a completely different vibe, Don. Nothing Was the Same. We had a lot more emotional records, a lot more, in your feelings, talking about, more female type of concepts as far as like him dealing with relationships. Versus this album, like we said in the beginning, was a lot of him talking his shit and yeah, a lot more money, but fake friends and him feeling like everybody turned his back on him. Him complaining about losing to Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? But it was not the same now. And this is where I'm saying it's like, okay, now we're getting into the music. Let's have these conversations. I don't agree with that take. I don't think that if we're only focusing on the Iceman part, I don't think this album sounds like Nothing Was the Same. I don't think it feels like Nothing Was the Same. This would be so much more fun of a video if we could just play the songs, but Tuscan Leather, we have Drake record, which is like his intros. Furthest Thing, what's that sound like? Somewhere between psychotic and iconic. Somewhere between I want it and I got it. Somewhere between I'm sober and I'm lifted. Somewhere between a mistress and commitment, but I stayed down. Girl, I never stayed down. Get down, never lay down. Okay, we in relationship talk right now. Like, I'm not getting any of these vibes on Iceman. I'd argue these were better vibes. You know what I'm saying? This is a classic album. Started from the bottom, now we here. That was hard at the time. 2016 music or 2013 music. Okay, so that sounds about right. Wu-Tang Forever, classic. I just love it when I'm with you. Yeah, the shit is on 10. We used to be friends, girl, even back then. See? And which I said that. I really know music of when Drake was more in this bag, he's getting more into his emotional sides when it came to women. A lot of these records are going back to, broken relationships that worked out or didn't work out when we look at these type of lyrics. What made me think about the gang, girl, and how I switched it up on the new thing. Young nigga came through on his Wu-Tang. Come on, man, that's good music. All that to say, I don't agree with that statement here. It does not sound the same as an album like Nothing Was the Same. I don't know if Don just off the dome that, but I'm excited about having these debates. Music, when we're talking about music, I'm tapped in. I'm debunking shit. I'm not feeling that.
I have girls. I have girls that switched up on me. I got girls that, you know, they disappear on me and they only hit me up when they need something. I got to take care of my mom. My dad is immature. You know, but now, along with all of that is all my friends betrayed me. I'm all alone. I'm not the nice guy anymore. You know, I'm unbothered, but clearly so bothered. That's what Iceman was. And I'm not surprised, because your frequency is revealed by the people you associate yourself with and just the way you respond to situations. And Drake has aligned himself with the corniest, lamest niggas on the internet. Niggas like Aiden Ross, you know, XQC. It's like, you can't be hanging out with dudes like that and have any like real nigga inside you. You're not cool. You can't be a cool person if these are.
Again, I'm not necessarily mad at those takes. That's fine. And like, bro, we could talk all day about what Drake is doing in his personal life and what he's saying in these songs, but that's just a, does Drake do corny things? Yes, 100%. Does Drake align himself with corny people sometimes? Yes, 100%. I am not a fan of Drake's lifestyle and who he decides to hang out with. I'm a fan of Drake music. And if the song is good and makes me feel good, I'm tapped in. And if it doesn't, then that's not one of my favorite Drake songs. Like, I'm not trying to hear that shit. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, I feel like none of these takes are necessarily bad. Relax, buddy. None of these takes are necessarily bad, but it's making the music political. It's making it's like taking whatever Drake's saying or doing outside of the music and then making that be the judge of whether you want to listen to his music or not. And it's like, okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. Anybody's provocative, but to then turn around and then call the album trash when we haven't spoke about the music yet is crazy.
Are people you associate with.
And this isn't necessarily an attack to Don, but the reason I react to his videos because this is the discourse that I'm seeing on the internet. Like, people are in the comment section and like judging the music, 40 plus songs, and saying that it's trash or it's mid or whatever. But the rebuttal is, oh, it's trash because he spoke about Kendrick. Oh, it's trash because he's talking about money and hoes. And it's like, what? Like, isn't that like every rap song ever? Like, is that the gauge on whether if a song is good or bad now? I thought the gauge of whether a song was good or bad was if it was good or bad music, sonically. You know what I'm trying to, do y'all understand what I'm trying to say? I want to hear y'all feedback, man. Again, I'm not above being that this is copium, saying that what I'm saying is copium. But I'm just saying, like, if we gonna rate an album off of music and how it feels when that shit play, you click play, then let's rate it off of that, not whether Drake is wearing a MAGA hat or not. You know what I'm saying? And now, if you don't want to align yourself with Drake and listen to anything that he does because of what he does in his personal life, that's cool. I'm not against that. But it's just kind of like, say that though. Say, hey, I don't like this nigga's music. I don't know if it's good or bad. I just don't like this nigga's music because I don't like him as a person. Then the conversation ends there. Like, we can't even have a debate because you didn't even really hear the music for real. You get what I'm trying to say?
You know what I'm saying?
And the man trying to position himself as Batman's greatest enemy started looking more like someone begging Batman to keep acknowledging him, because the Joker's greatest fear is not losing to Batman. It is Batman moving on without him. And now the only thing left is the human equivalent of a bot farm. MAGA.
And that's why I believe that Kendrick won't mention Drake at all, not even a sub on his next album. Nothing would say I defeated you more than him just never mentioning Drake again.
I mean, I think all that's true. Kendrick won. There's no debate there.
Just like people clocked the problematic imagery in his...
But again, right now we're watching a video that is trying to connect Iceman to Donald Trump somehow. I'm not seeing the correlation, bro.
Iceman website zine, Drake chose to put on Michael Jackson's glove and position his fingers into a well-known white power symbol.
Of course.
Drake's
All right, bro. What are we doing here, bro? Drake's been throwing up that symbol since as long as I remember Drake being around. What the
fans are desperate for it all to mean something else. They are desperate for Drake to be relevant and to be on top so they can rest at his feet and guzzle his blue-balled jizz. Drake's fans need him to win so they do not have to confront what following him has increasingly come to represent.
Right.
3 bloated, critically mocked albums suddenly become strategy. Weak bars become bait. Repetition becomes world building.
And the bars, man. The bars there were so many terrible lines on this album. Yeah, this line right here from National Treasures. Oh my God, bro. I heard this shit. This was disgusting. He said, check signing is my kink. Pushing out ink. I feel like a squid.
I ain't gonna lie. When I heard that shit, I was kind of like, what the fuck are you talking about, Drake? But that song is hard, though. Again, can't play it for copyright reasons, but National Treasures is actually one of the better songs on the project. Are we calling is National Treasure trash, chat? Are we collectively saying that National Treasures is trash because of that bar right there, or bars like that? Again, the point that I'm trying to make, if we gonna rate an album 2 out of 10, what are we rating it on? Are we rating it on every single bar, or are we rating it on the songs overall? Because National Treasures was a good song. That was a pretty good damn song. Was that song trash? You know what song I thought was kind of trash? Which I could even say I was enjoying it, but I felt like 21 Savage kept coming in. There's bees on the table, bees on the table. I'm like, bro, shut up. Drake, why do you even put 21 Savage on this song? For me, it felt like he ruined the song. Let's actually go down this Iceman record. The first 18 songs. Make Them Cry. Decent record. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Song's pretty fucking turned. I'm gonna go with 7 out of 10. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Whisper My Name is hard. 7.5 out of 10. Janet Shut the Fuck Up is such a fucking vibe. I'm not gonna lie, that's a 9 out of 10 for me. Run to Atlanta, Future and Molly Santana, come on, man. That's a 9. That song is hard. Shebang, I'm not gonna lie, I think this song is trash. A lot of people on the internet have been saying they fuck with it, but I think Shebang is fucking trash. That one is like a 5 out of 10 for me. Didn't like that song. Nice vibe. I would say 6.5. You know, definitely bumps up to like a 7 if you want a late night ride. I like Make 'Em Pay, but you know, got to be in the mood for it. Burning, I'm with nowhere. Burning Bridges, it was a 6 for me. It wasn't terrible, but I didn't really love it. I could see myself singing along to it if it came on in the right vibe, but I mean. National Treasures, we were just talking about that. It's one of the better songs on the album. I'm gonna go with 8. I'm gonna go with an 8. I would go 8.5, but it was a strong record. 8. I liked that song. Yeah, none of you pussies is acting. Bees on the Table. I just gave my opinion on that. I'm gonna just go ahead and label it a 7. It's like I like the song, but 21 Savage, I just feel like he did not need to be on that shit. What Did I Miss? That song has been out for a while now. Are we gonna all act like we didn't like this record? This song has 197 million streams. You know, we've been seeing it in TikTok edits and all types of shit for a while now. This is a good fucking song. Strong 8.5. Plot twist, hits in the gym. Like this song a lot. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Too Hard on the Radio. I've already caught myself singing this. I damn near want to give it a 9, honestly. But if we're going to be, you know, conservative, 8.5. For real. Make Them Remember. Good, you know, rapping Drake song, 7. Lil Birdie, I fuck with it. It kind of feels like a Florida vibe. I'm from Florida, you know, it gives me like a Kodak Black type of vibe. So if I'm judging it with my bias, I'm gonna go 8. If I'm judging it, you just a random, you know, listener, you don't know nothing about this energy, I wouldn't be mad if you gave it a 6.5 or a 7. But me personally, it's an 8. Don't Worry, I think this song is trash. I don't like this song. Probably this song is not good to me. That's a 5. It's a 5.
Yeah. And we back at
Another good little Drake rapping record, you know, 6.5. Not mad at it. Could be a 7 depending on the mood, but I'll stick it at 6.5. Make Them Know, I would say it's probably one of Drake's weaker outros on a album, but it's not terrible. It's definitely still hears the messaging. He's barring up. I'm gonna go with 6.5. Again, rating it all off of music and how it makes me feel and just listening to the music sonically, I can honestly still kind of say this album is riding like a 7 out of 10 for me. There's some highs, but you know, there's a lot of thumbs ups. Like, this is good, you know what I'm saying? It's good music, you know, I'm enjoying it. Is this Drake's best album? No, not even close. You know what I'm trying to say? There's Drake albums where I could be like, yo, that's a 10 out of 10. So again, just to dial this conversation back to an overall initial point, if you think that's being biased and you don't agree with my takes, because that's fine, that's your opinion, but I'm judging this album off of music. If anybody wants to get into a debate about what Drake did or didn't do outside of the music, we can have that debate, but at the same time, there's probably nothing to debate about because I'd probably be on your side. Drake be doing a lot of corny shit outside of music. And Drake lost the battle to Kendrick. So there's no argument there for me. It is just funny. And just to remind y'all, we're just having a friendly fan conversation right now. No, I don't lose sleep over this, and I hope you aren't. But if we're gonna call music trash, especially by like people that are at the top of the game, when we're talking about like the J. Coles, the Drakes, the Kendricks, the people that have been running the industry for the past 10 plus years, I'm gonna call something trash based off of how the music actually sound. I don't owe these people these people ain't putting no money in my pocket for me to be like, oh, he did this in his personal life, so now I'm not listening to his song. I'm listening to Kendrick and Drake. Now, if you want to throw J. Cole in the mix, right now I'm only listening to old J. Cole, because that last album that J. Cole dropped, I mean, shit, I haven't heard nothing about it since the week it dropped. That shit was here today and gone tomorrow. Come on, man. We not listening to that. Ironically enough, he named the album The Fall Off. Hopefully my GOAT can come back and hopefully the GOAT J. Cole can come back and prove to us that wasn't the case, because he literally called the album The Fall Off, and that shit was fucking terrible.
Oh, I heard that. I was like, Drake is so washed, bro. Drake is done. He must have fired all the ghostwriters. That's insane.
They insist the real masterpiece is coming.
Said it multiple times too. It's how he ended the fucking hook. Am I right? The way you end the last and first lines of a hook are arguably the most significant lines in a song, especially a rap song. The fact that that's how he ended this hook, it's like, oh man, talk about phoning this shit in. Bro's not even trying. Or maybe he is, and that's the sad part.
Later, after the UMG deal ends, because admitting Iceman might actually reflect Drake's current artistic abilities would force a much uglier realization. Maybe the man they built entire identities around is stuck.
See, again, like, I just yapped my ass off, but do y'all see how this video is supposed to be about Drake's album and we're just getting a lot of imagery about Donald Trump? Like, again, we can have these these conspiracy theories. I'm not mad at, having these conversations, but I thought we were talking about the album, bro. I thought we were talking about the music.
Emotionally stagnant and culturally drifting into something reactionary and hollow. The same denial appears around the imagery
oh my
for
God,
the Iceman.
I can't believe this man is our president. Oh my Lord. But it's all making sense when you take a look at who are the biggest streamers, who are the leaders in politics, who are the biggest artists commercially, there is a through line. There is a pattern here, and it's all very sad.
An album. Drake flashes a hand pose.
We must be on the verge of some kind of renaissance, bro, honestly.
Widely recognized in extremist and white power circles, and suddenly his audience develops collective historical amnesia. It's a reach. Nobody knows that symbol. You're overthinking it.
Right.
But that excuse only really works on people who do not read and do not realize how thoroughly internet manosphere culture has already reached.
What does that say about you when the White House wants to associate itself with you and your brand and your album? I mean, this was too easy for them to make it obvious, right? To make it obvious that this is like, you know, very white supremacist coded.
Shaped. There.
I mean, again, bro, is that true? I mean, I guess. And, you know, I know that I already see the comment section like, I'm not woke enough or whatever, but it's just kind of like, bro, I mean, are y'all listening to track number 3 on the album, or is this just about the conspiracy theory side?
Instincts, because red pill culture trains people to dismiss context, mock interpretation, worship grievance, and treat every criticism as persecution. That is why so much of Drake's audience now responds less like music fans and more like ideological defenders protecting their worldview. The music barely matters anymore. The quality barely matters anymore. Drake has become a vessel for emotionally underdeveloped men who need him to remain dominant because his dominance validates them.
I mean, I guess, but I just feel like my whole argument was what she just said. And we're not even talking about the music. She just said that Drake's, when it comes to talking about Drake, the music doesn't matter. Nothing about the content of what Drake is doing matters. Just what Drake is doing does matters. And that's kind of what I'm arguing. I'm like, I mean, you just made a whole video not talking about Drake's music. You're talking about the fucking finger signs that he's throwing up and whether that's aligned with Donald Trump or not. So I'm hearing a little bit of level of hypocrisy from this lady's video, or it sounds like some AI voice. It's probably not a woman that's, sitting here talking, making parallels between Drake and Donald Trump. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? So I'm confused. I'm confused on how any of this relates back to whether you guys liked Janice Shut the Fuck Up record. What does that have to do with anything?
If he loses, if the art is actually bad, if the symbolism keeps getting more problematic, if the obsession with Kendrick keeps making him look smaller instead of stronger, then the fantasy collapses. And underneath the fantasy is just a man spiraling publicly while an army of irony-poisoned fans insist the breakdown is actually genius.
And you know what's sad, man? There was a part of me that really wanted this album to be good. Even though I am just not a fan of Drake as a person at all because of all the shit. But I wanted the album to be good because in a weird way, if the album was good, I feel like it would make me feel a little bit closer to how things felt in 2015. Before Trump, before Kanye was MAGA, before COVID, before just the bullshit, so much of the bullshit, when life was simpler and more fun and the music was good. Like a lot of good music was just coming out all the time.
I can agree with you there, Don. Music has been piss poor lately. Like nothing sticks, music just doesn't hit the same anymore. Even I can sit here and say I enjoyed Iceman, but it doesn't hit like the old shit. Like that is just facts, bro. Like music is just so mid nowadays, and that's why hip hop is not even the number one genre anymore. It's just like nothing feels like it means anything anymore. The meats and potatoes of the music is gone, even just in a feel good way. You know what I'm trying to say? But I also feel like it's just everything is oversaturated to a degree. And I actually hate to be the type of person that use that kind of wording, because I'm also, I'm the type of person that campaigns behind creatives being creative. You know what I'm saying? You can start a YouTube channel right now. You can make a song right now. Go chase your dreams. Go do it. But the trade-off with that is the more people that are allowed to enter this game of creativity and do shit, the more it just is going to water stuff down overall. But there's beauty in that too, because I think what's also happening, if we look at music in a consumerism type of way, the same way that we're not all lining up to go buy Jordan sneakers anymore. Again, this is coming from somebody that enjoyed that time. You guys see it. I have it in my room almost as nostalgic trophies. You know what I'm saying? I went and stood in line for some of these Jordans. I spent my hard-earned money for some of these Jordans that I have, and, little knickknacks that I think were rare and cool or whatever, collectibles, to say the least. But you know what I'm saying? Now, because there's so much independent dope, graphic designers out there, so many independent people selling t-shirts and sweatpants and shit, making shoes and doing whatever, I don't necessarily feel like I gotta go buy my shit from Nike. I don't necessarily feel like I gotta go give my dollar to, that designer brand that is super exclusive. Hence, if we make that parallel to the music industry, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, I can honestly go enjoy my listening time with some of these smaller artists and, give them that, that exposure and credibility and enjoy the content. So, there's pros and cons to everything. Yes, music doesn't hit the same. And the guys that we are looking at to get, those hit records from, it's kind of fallen slightly flat. But we also have, it also opens up that door. Like, if you really love this music shit, now it's time to go out there and really start finding new artists to listen to, new small artists to listen to, and be like, shit, well, this is my favorite song right now, even though it only has 100 plays on YouTube. You get what I'm trying to say? And I think there's the pros and cons, and that's a dope place to be. But again, reeling the conversation back to just on this album and how it sounds, bro, I think it's a good music. It's some of the best music that's come out this year. Who's had the best albums this year, in my personal opinion? Don Toliver, Baby Keem, and now Drake. Every single other project that I've listened to has fallen flat, and I've tapped in, and it doesn't got no replayability. And I'm checking. You know what I'm saying? I really love music, if you can't tell. To just sit here and start throwing in the MAGA and all these other things of what Drake is doing and how he likes to twist up his fingers outside of the music, I mean, I don't really care for that. I've gotten on camera and told y'all, I listen to Kendrick too. Drake lost the beef badly in a terrible way. That Not Like Us is a generational hit. They're making Kids Bop. They have a Kids Bop version of Not Like Us. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is going down in the history books. So, I'm not team Drake or Kendrick, even though Drake is my favorite artist. I'm not that fucking biased. You know what I'm saying?
Also, just be impressive to see somebody produce great art. If someone was capable of producing great art and just making objectively good music or high quality music, despite
even I'm a big fan of Yeet, and I wasn't like, I can still listen to Yeet's newest project, the ADL, but ADL fell flat for me. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean it's unlistenable, but I was like, damn, I was disappointed when Yeet's new album dropped. So again, bro, I'm not afraid to point at my favorite artist and be like, that shit was mid, But I don't necessarily think Iceman, at least that first album, Iceman, that's titled Iceman, I don't necessarily think it's mid. I don't think it's his best work.
Going through all of the lows that he just went through, right? The only thing people like more than a good come-up story is a good comeback story. But deep down, I knew it just wouldn't make sense for that to happen, because the way that Drake has been behaving is not aligned with a person who was about to be triumphant. Drake has been moving very corny. He's been talking like a victim, very woe is me. He's embarrassed, he's humiliated, and he's wallowing in it. He's hanging out with lames, you know, he's partnering up with Bobby Altoff and fucking Aiden Ross and people like that. And I was like, there's no way a guy like that then also puts out a banger, like a banger of a rap album. And that's exactly what happened, man. So, yeah, man, those are my...
Shout out to my nigga Don, man. I thought this was going to be a fun video because it is a fun video. It starts that conversation, you know. Again, Don is my brother. This is, we're talking about music here. Like, this is so unserious. Nobody really gives a fuck, right? But if we are going to have the conversation, y'all let me know what y'all think. Because I feel like, again, I literally damn near agree with every single thing that Don is saying. Except the fact that the things that he's talking about, I feel like have nothing to do with how good the music sounded or how bad the music sounded. Like, okay, one of the bars were weak in National Treasure, but was National Treasure trash? Did you guys not like that song? So y'all let me know in the comment section how you feel about it. Are you judging music based off of what, you know, happened outside of the music? Because, you know, again, I'm also the type of person where I feel like you are supposed to separate the art from the artist. You know what I'm saying? I would die on that hill for most cases. But when we look at that recent case with David and the David and Celeste situation, it's like I can't separate the art from the artist. And that's a little bit hypocritical because I literally damn near would die on any hill. Like, a lot of rappers and artists have done messed up things. Like, you know, a lot, unfortunately, it almost seems like a lot of these creatives operate in a place of like being a fucking weirdo. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, shit, if I was operating on the hill of I can't listen to certain artists because of the rights and wrongs that they've done in their life, then shit, I probably would only be able to listen to Christian and gospel music. And I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just being real. But then, you know, but when I look at somebody like David, it's like, no, this wasn't even, these were just straight up confessions. This guy is literally singing about the crimes he's done. So, you know, again, I'm being hypocritical within myself, and I'm not afraid to say that because when I look at that situation, I can't listen to that nigga's music. I wasn't even ever a big fan, but I was like, oh, this guy makes good music and it sounds good and shit. This is, you know, I understand why this guy's successful, but now it's also like, bro, I cut that shit off. It almost like feels like a demon chanting in my ear if I were to cut that shit on because I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But for anybody else, it's like, fuck, are we not listening to some of like the best music that is called? Like, I know some of y'all grannies are still listening to R. Kelly, bro. Like, let's keep it a stack. Mind you, that nigga is disgusting, terrible human being. You know, we had that same conversation. Think about this. I feel you got, I'm yapping now, so if you guys want to leave, go ahead. But there was a time when XXX, if you guys don't know who that is, you know, the Look at Me rapper, the guy that was tragically killed in Broward County, Florida, the Blue Dreads, you guys know who X is. There was a time where the Spotify was trying to remove X's music because of the allegations. I think he was battling a domestic violence case at the time, and Spotify was willing to get rid of X's catalog from Spotify. Like, oh, we don't align with what X did. You know, he's a criminal and we don't align with that. So we're going to pull his music from the platform. And believe it or not, Kendrick Lamar actually stood up for X at that time. Kendrick Lamar publicly said, hey, regardless of whatever X did or didn't do, if you pull X's catalog, Kendrick Lamar, I'm going to pull my catalog because that's not fair. Because again, so many artists throughout history, some of them have done terrible things. And it's kind of like if we start judging music solely based off of the crimes or the good or bad that people did or didn't do, then there'd be no music to listen to. A lot of like, you know, again, I'm not saying that we should just turn the cheek to evil people or evil ways, but let's just say that there is a case to be made, like for somebody like Jay-Z, right, who has built his empire musically initially off of what? Selling drugs, doing whatever he did, whatever crimes he committed. And now he's a billionaire that is investing into the black community, and you know, he's reflected on the bad things that he's done. He's become a better man. He's grown from the situation. So if we are to now judge content essentially, you know, and be like, oh, we can't enjoy this content for what it was or for what it is, we have to like dig deep and be like, oh, he sold crack to your granny in the 80s, so I can't listen to Jay-Z no more. If that's how we're judging music, I mean, me personally, I don't really want to be a part of that or promote that, because that's also the same ideology where it's like, oh, now we're using lyrics and using it in court. Just because I got on a song and said, I pull out the chopper and spray a whole block up, but I commit no crimes, are you guys able to now go lock me up because I said that? I'd hope not. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just made it up. It was just my creative vision. And now we start entering the territory, oh, because somebody created a horror movie, or, you know, a movie where somebody does something crazy in the movie, or we now look at the director or the person that wrote that script as an evil, terrible person. There's got to be a line where creativity can just be creativity and we can appreciate the art for the art. If you want to hate the artist for whatever the fuck he's doing outside, fine by me. But me personally, I'm not necessarily trying to enter a world where now there's no more room to be creative and an outlet to be creative and say or do whatever, and let's just judge that on that. So I think it's a dope conversation, an interesting conversation that's especially becoming a lot more prevalent. Curious to hear y'all feedback. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. My name's Berto, Where You At Berto. Join the Where You At family so you never miss a live reaction live on Twitch. The link to that is in the description. I want to see you there.
Where you at, Berto? I made this shit look too easy.